Hi again, everybody, and welcome to Inside Golf. I'm Harry Donahue. How about the work of the superintendent at a golf course? A lot of it we know. So much more, though, we don't know. How important it is, the hours that they take to get the job done. And it's not just a 9-to-5 job, and it's not just a nice weather job. They're out there, well, in the middle of winter. And here we are, January, in the Philadelphia area, and today we're at Lanark Country Club with a lot of golf course superintendents in the area. It's their second annual education session. They network and they talk about common problems that they have and how to solve them. Coming up, we'll talk to some of the participants, and we'll also look at one of their specialties, the aeration of golf courses. I know a lot of members are kind of inconvenienced, they think, whenever a golf course is going through the aeration process. But you know what? If you didn't do it twice a year on the greens and on the fairways and on the tees, you wouldn't have a golf course. So the work of a superintendent plus our teed off panel. It's coming up next on Inside Golf. The 26th season of Inside Golf is presented by Destination Montco Golf. Your next golf getaway is in Valley Forge in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. Visit valleyforge.org. By the First Tee Greater Philadelphia. The First Tee not only helps young men and women become better golfers, but most important, better people. Get involved. Visit firstteephiladelphia.org. By the Philadelphia Association of Golf Course Superintendents, a community of professionals enhancing the game of golf since 1925. Make sure you thank your golf course superintendent today. By the Golf Association of Philadelphia, GAP, celebrating amateur golf since 1897. By Jersey Man and Philly Man Magazine, a digital publication and private business network. Read the current issue free at jerseymanmagazine.com. By the Haverford Trust Company. For life's must-haves, there's Haverford. And by Inside Golf's partner since 1998, the Philadelphia PGA section, the experts in the game and business of golf.
Golf is the great equalizer. For many, this journey is an escape from reality, a chance to be part of a team, a career opportunity. PGA Reach impacts lives through golf by lifting people up, giving them hope, and sending them down an alternate path that they never saw coming. With PGA Reach Philadelphia, as in life and in golf, the most important shot you take is the next one.
Welcome back. Inside Golf continues. We're at Lanark Country Club in the middle of winter, and this is a busy time for the Golf Course Superintendents Association of Philadelphia. This is their second annual winter education session. Tyler Bloom, you're not a member of this particular association, right, Tyler?
Actually, I am.
You are, from your original entrance into this superintendent's field. Tell us about what you're doing here today.
Yeah, so here today just to talk a little bit about labor. As we know throughout this industry, labor has been a focal point, whether it's in the clubhouse operations, golf course maintenance. So today kind of talking a little bit about that and just general education for not just superintendents, but their green chairs as well.
Is there a common thread, whether you're talking about a top 100 golf course or a 9-hole municipal golf course somewhere in the middle of nowhere, that all these superintendents sooner or later have to deal with?
Yeah, I mean, certainly the expectations of members hasn't changed, whether it's a public or top 100. Sure. But certainly the challenges, whether that's be environmental stewardship, whether that be the labor aspect, inflation, those seem to be pretty consistent themes that everybody's dealing with.
And you're in touch with courses all over the country. Yes. You're sort of an independent contractor trying to get a fit for a particular course, whether it's on the West Coast, Florida, up here in the Northeast. Is it tough sometimes to get candidates to apply for jobs and to, even if it is pretty good situation when it comes to what they're getting paid, where the location is, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's one, common thread that, hey, the elite clubs or the top 100s are any better off than the municipal golf course. They're all dealing with labor challenges in some fashion, whether that be the entry level to the mid-level management. But ultimately companies and clubs contact me because they're not getting any hits. I think COVID exacerbated that issue. I think awareness in the industry has always been a struggle. Certainly the universities have under enrollment over the last 5-10 years. So if you are somebody getting into the industry now, your chances of earning a salary $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, much better than when I started with a 4-year degree making $12 to $13 an hour, working, incredible amounts of overtime.
Final question. What's the best part of being somebody involved in a superintendent, not the superintendent, but working on a grounds crew, hopefully getting a superintendent's job?
Well, certainly the camaraderie, within the golf community is an asset, I think, at all levels. But, I think the passion these people have for nature, helping each other, helping a growing environment, and creating an environment for people to recreate and enjoy certainly has to be a central focus. Working with your hands. So if you're somebody that doesn't like a 9-to-5 desk job, this is the perfect opportunity for you to get involved in.
John Urbanski is Director of Golf Course and Grounds at Wilmington Country Club. How long have you had that job, John?
I've had it for 4 years now, and prior to that, for 14 years, I was just on the other side of the hill at Bitterman Golf Club.
Okay, and of course you're coming off a pretty successful event, the BMW Championship, this past golf season. You and I were talking a little bit about how much heads up you had, knowing that it's going to be played at Wilmington. And you told me roughly about 2 years. Was that a lot of pressure for you, or how did you handle that whole getting ready, the preparation for it?
Yeah, we go back 2 years. We were right in the middle of the pandemic. A tornado hit us in early August, and from there it was really cleanup mode, and then we just started some major renovations on the golf course, which included all the bunkers, getting new sand, new drainage, adding some back tees for the championships itself, and some additional bunkering on the golf course for the event. But it was very exciting. We got a great support network there. We have a great agronomy team that really pitched in. From our front office staff to our leader in the clubhouse, Phil, our general manager. Everyone showed so much support, and obviously the membership and how they embraced the championship itself. It was the most fantastic experience of my life.
Now, normally you have, annual events like member guests and, tournaments throughout the course of the season. But you had to deal with a whole nother animal here, right? This was the PGA Tour. So did they get involved too? They have people that work with people like you to say, hey, we got to take this into consideration. How did that all play out?
Yeah, I went into this, thought there would be a lot of direction from the tour itself. They have their senior vice president of agronomy, Paul Vermeulen. He would come in and do a few occasional site visits here and there. But really, it was our programs that we were conducting all the way up and through the championship itself. So there were some things, some parameters that we had to meet, like green speeds and green firmness. We already maintained the golf course at such a high level, and so did we really have to turn anything up or turn the knobs that much? I would say no. We were already doing that for our membership and conducting our daily events and our member guests and things of that nature. So it was just a lot more intensive. Obviously, we had a lot of volunteers that helped us out for that week. So we went from a staff of 60 normally for the entire property, that's including our rackets operations, to volunteers and staff to well over 100 people to prepare just 118 holes of golf.
Here we are in an event like this, which is sort of an educational thing for people like yourself and others in jobs like you have. What are the biggest challenges, one or two things every year? Do they change for somebody that has the title that you have?
Number one's the weather. Dealing with that and what Mother Nature is going to throw at you. And then two would be, I think, across any industry, and ours as a whole would be labor, and just trying to find some quality people to man your operations and all. So the pandemic had a huge effect on that. We're starting to see a rebound from all that, but it's still, I think those are, when you're dealing with golf course turf, it's really number one is Mother Nature, and then two is how you're going to staff those operations.
Our good friend John Riley, member Wilmington, Porky Oliver, author, appreciates what you do. And I know John raves about the condition of the golf course at Wilmington Country Club. Without guys like you, John, they can't say that, and you guys are the unsung heroes of the game of golf, whether it be at Wilmington or anywhere around this country. Thanks for what you do.
Well, thank you, Harry. We appreciate you covering the game of golf and turf managers like us. So,
Well, we need to do more with you guys because, like I say, you're the fuel that drives the engine. Thanks a lot.
appreciate it. Thank you.
So, what do you want to do today?
Today, I want to run. I want to skate.
Thank you.
I want to see a show. I want to play. I want to eat, like a lot. I want to sleep in a hotel. Can we do all that?
We can do all that and more.
Welcome back to Inside Golf as we take a look, kind of like draw back the curtain a little bit on the job of being a golf course superintendent. And recently, Inside Golf took a look at the aeration process. It was being done at Concord Country Club. Why it's done and how important it is to this game we love.
We wanted to come out here today to describe why we do it and make sure that people understand that we're not just doing it to be the blight of golfers, but rather to promote the health of the turf. And so I'd like to start out by pointing out that greens are, first of all, the most heavily trafficked area in the golf course. And by aerating, we're removing that compacted soil and replacing it with a less compact sand. And so we are alleviating some of that compaction and allowing the turf to breathe, as well as modifying the soil. So this is one of our newer greens, but for the most part on this golf course, we have original 1920s William Flynn greens that were all push-ups where they would dig out the greenside bunker, flip the soil up, and mound up the green. And so a lot of our greens are simply native Pennsylvania soil, which can be really heavy in clay and rock. And so by removing some of that material, filling it with sand and top dressing with sand, we can actually amend the profile so that we have a sandier, drier, firmer mix, which will create a nice smooth ball roll and keep the greens healthy throughout the summer.
Man, I love aeration. This is the best time of the year.
Oh, this is my favorite.
Like Nick said, aeration is something that we have to do. Unfortunately, it is a necessary evil. Like nobody loves it, but it's something we have to do. Once we finish punching all these holes, we'll top dress. This allows us to kind of give it a clean slate, fill any bumps or little nicks that have been made throughout the green throughout the year. All the plant material that just gets built up from mowing, leaves falling, getting tracked on by golfers' shoes, that all will start to build up in the green, and this is more or less detrimental to the plant health if it's not alleviated. Aerating lets us pull all that material out and put better material back into the green, like Nick stated with amending the soil profile. Eventually it'll just putter out and it won't be the same playing surface as you had before. Putting all the sand on top of the green allows the greens to become firmer, makes them faster and drier, which is what every golfer wants when they're playing.
Obviously no golfer loves aeration, and understand that we also don't love doing this. You can ask any of these guys, it's not exactly fun to spend multiple days out here picking up cores, replacing it with sand. It's not an easy process, but the reason that we're doing it is for the long-term health of the greens and to make sure that they perform at their peak each and every season. So please bear with us, and the greens will be back to tip-top shape before you know it.
So a little education on what aeration is, what it's all about, how it's done, and how important it is for the game of golf. All right, stay with us. Coming up next, our teed-off panels ready to go.
It'll be a different connection to people, which is a good thing. I'd love to have some of these people say something controversial once in a while, and they never do.
Welcome back. Inside Golf continues. Time for our teed-off segment as we have assembled here at Lulu Country Club in Upper Dublin. Speaking of which, if you would like more information about what Lulu has to offer you, and they got a bunch of stuff to offer you. Great golf course, Donald Ross design, beautiful clubhouse, great membership, simulator rooms, that'll get you through the winter. Go to their website, lulucc.com. Oscar Mestry's back with us. Oscar now going into his third year. Boy, time flies, doesn't it? As president of the Golf Association of Philadelphia. Good to see you.
Great to see you, Harry.
Courtney Curcio is from the Philadelphia section of the PGA of America. She is the Director of Foundations, doing some great work for the section, and always a pleasure to have you on, Teed Off.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
And Jim Sullivan, he's our host, member here at Lulu. Plays a lot of golf, this guy. He's good.
Yeah.
He can go anywhere.
Thanks
and
for
he
having me,
has,
Harry.
by
Yeah,
the way.
sure.
And he's a major contributor to Teed Off. We made this guy into a star. He's a household name around Philly golf.
Eyed me.
Oscar, you watch a lot of golf. It's NBC's turn now to kind of shuffle the deck a little bit, saying goodbye to Roger Maltby as an on-course commentator, and also Gary Koch, he of the famous better than most line. He made a career out of that one putt by Tiger down at the TPC at Sawgrass. But anyhow, they're going to be replaced. Brad Faxon is coming on board. He did some work with Fox a few years ago. And also Smiley Kaufman, he of a different generation. And maybe that had something to do, I don't know, with his getting his job. But first of all, Roger Maltby, he's like your uncle or something like that. He's been around a long time. Good player in his day. And I thought, had a good rap with whoever he was working with, whether it was Johnny Miller or Paul Isinger or Dan Hicks, whatever. But he's gone, and I'm going to miss him, but, what do you think?
I'm going to miss him also, honestly. He's that familiar face. He's the relative you have, who I remember him when he in his playing days. He was one of the few people sponsored by a beer company, as I recall.
Right, was he?
Michelob.
He had that on the bag.
Right on the bag. So he's a different guy, but a friendly guy. So I'm going to miss him. I mean, generationally, I relate a lot more to Roger than I might to Smiley. But I see what Smiley's going to give him, which is access to Jordan Spieth and the young guys, since they're buds and they vacation together.
Oh.
And I'm assuming that's what.
You have some inside information on that,
that was public information. I think it's called Twitter or something like that.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think that's what they're going for. It's nobody likes change, right? Change is hard for everybody.
Who does Brad Faxon? Do you know who Brad Faxon vacations with at all?
No, I don't.
I know one of the big things he does now, of course, with TV, he's going to get a lot of exposure. But he's quite a putter in his own right, and he was a putting coach. I think Rory is on the list. He goes down there to Jupiter. I think he has a home there, or Palm Beach, and so he has a lot of access to a lot of up-and-coming players, like Roger said to, and I guess you'd agree, that has a lot to do with the change, right?
Definitely, I think so, and I think. I mean, as you said, that change is hard for a lot of people, but you got to get that new generation involved and watching the sport as well, and not just streaming things that they need to watch on NBC. So I think this is a good move for them. Obviously, the older reporters, they want to leave on their own terms. They didn't get to this opportunity, and people don't like that. But I think it's going to be a good change, if not.
Jim, I've been, a broadcaster my entire life, done play-by-play for a lot of sports in the Philly area, and I'm always reminded of the fact that people don't tune in or listen because of you. Not you, per se, I mean like me.
They are tuning in for me,
what I
right?
mean?
Isn't that what you started with?
Yeah.
When they hear introduction teed off, Jim Sullivan, it's like drop the dishes. But, I mean, does it make a difference, do you think? Or can it make a difference who's describing the action as opposed to the action itself?
So I don't think I tune in that way, but Johnny Miller was a rocket ship his first couple years, and he started talking about people choking, and people wanted to watch it, or and he got paid that way. He had the job as long as he wanted, all that stuff. I think it matters, and so to echo Oscar and Courtney, I think this is a natural transition. This will be a different connection to people, which is a good thing. I'd love to have some of these people say something controversial once in a while, and they never do. Every shot's pretty difficult. Wow, that was an unbelievable shot they just had, that sort of thing. I'd love to have, Faraday was controversial in a goofy comedian way, Miller was really controversial. It felt like in the ways he would say, this isn't that hard a shot. You know, they could have done that. What happened there? It could only be choking or whatever the thing was. I'd love for that to happen, but I don't see it out of these two guys.
You agree with that? Was Johnny Miller, because he's brutally honest?
He was controversial when he first came out, right? I mean,
I think
the players hated him.
Quit. Yeah.
The players hated him.
If he made his ups and downs on the practice range, not too many guys were coming over saying, hey, Johnny, hey, Mr. Miller. How you doing?
They weren't going to give him any inside skinny, right? I think some of these guys are going to get inside skinny, you know, that they hopefully they make interesting in the broadcast by sharing. But there's no question that some people did tune in to hear his brutally honest assessment. And you know, I don't know if that's this generation. I don't know.
And he had the street cred. I mean, Johnny Miller could play. Folks.
He was a stud.
You know, there was a stretch there in the 70s where he won like every other tournament. You know, they called him the Desert Fox. He owned Arizona.
The Western
Absolutely.
stops.
And, you know, like everybody else, you know, majors maybe, he won the British, but he never got to Augusta. Maybe the greatest finish in Augusta history, 1975. He finished second to Nicklaus, and, you know, Weiskopf was right there. That was like a trifecta, those three guys.
Right.
But I guess what I'm saying, Courtney, leading into that after Johnny Miller thing, some of these guys, like Smiley Kaufman is going to replace him and Brad Faxon. I don't know if Smiley Kaufman has the street cred that Johnny Miller had, or even maybe that Roger Maltby had. You know what I mean? I mean, he's got game and he's friends with these other guys. Is that enough, though, to get that position?
I think we'll have to see. I mean, I definitely had to look him up before and
realizing
see
what
who
they
it
were
was.
doing.
So I think that if he has an in with that younger generation and is able to maybe get them to talk a little bit more and get clickbait for NBC, I think that's what they're looking for, really. That will be good for them.
Here's the problem with that, though, Sully. If he starts telling it like it is, he's not going to be part of the Rat Pack.
It's like a vacation
so
time.
I think to that point, they didn't hire him to tell it like it is. They hired him to be on vacation with these guys.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's the
talk about what they did
path.
last week in Cabo or something.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see how it works out. Congratulations, Smiley. Brad, welcome back to TV. And Roger and Gary, well, you guys are better than most, and you know, they spanned a couple decades of network golf, which isn't easy. All right, we'll be back. More of Inside Golf in just a moment. Designed by Donald Ross, Lulu Country Club is one of the premier private golf courses in Montgomery County. This classic 18-hole course boasts a new state-of-the-art clubhouse with many amenities for members to enjoy. Members are invited to play in events, tournaments, and enjoy guest privileges. For more information, contact membership at lulucc.com. Well, we're going to wrap things up here on Inside Golf at Lanark Country Club. This is Greg D'Antonio, who is the head of the local Golf Course Superintendents Association. Greg, first of all, thanks for letting us come in here and eavesdrop on this educational day you have. This is what, your second one that you've had? What do you think is the most beneficial part of this day, in addition to just networking and talking about how their jobs compare with each other? What are the superintendents going to take away from here?
Well, we hope everybody takes something back, whether it's that they can take back to their club to make it better or to make themselves, personally better by improving their mental health. We tried to focus on that today. But, the great thing about being a superintendent is we're all in this together. We share ideas. We work together. It's not like a lot of other businesses where you're competitors and you don't want to share secrets. Here, every superintendent is pulling for each other because God knows it's a hard enough job.
I think it is not only hard, but so underappreciated. I've had this conversation with a lot of people, both superintendents and just golfers in general, how much we take for granted the work that you people do. And this is, here we are in January and 50-degree weather. It's not normally like this. Wintertime, you're out there in sub-freezing conditions And that's when you get a lot of that work done.
Absolutely. The off season is the planning period, right? That's when you execute. Things are in the season, so you try and do all your, your planning and stuff in the off season, and hopefully it pays off during the summer.
Well, as I said, underappreciated, but they're the fuel that drives the engine when it comes to golf. Members that I know always used to say, we can have the best restaurants, we can have the nicest swimming pool, but if we don't have a good golf course, we're not going to be around for long. So it's in your hands to deliver, and a lot of times they don't get the credit. A lot of times, how about all the time, they don't get the credit that they deserve. And we're glad that you can partner with us here at Inside Golf. During this coming 2023 golf season, we hope to have more conversations with you and your peers. Take a look at everything from sharpening blades on mowers to just, the daily grind, dealing with heat and weather and things like that superintendents have to deal with.
Well, thanks for partnering with us, and we're equally excited to share our story.
All right, Greg, thank you. And once again, thanks for joining us here on Inside Golf. A look behind the scenes at how important a job it is for the grounds crew, the superintendent, the assistant superintendents at every golf course, whether you're talking about a top 100 golf course or a 9-hole muni anywhere in the United States. Without these guys, you're not playing golf. I'm Harry Donahue. Remember, no matter how bad it's going for you out there, how bad can it be? 55 degrees and sunny in January here at Lanark. Don't pick up. We'll see you next time, next week on Inside Golf. The 26th season of Inside Golf is presented by Destination Montco Golf. Your next golf getaway is in Valley Forge in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. Visit valleyforge.org. By the First Tee Greater Philadelphia. The First Tee not only helps young men and women become better golfers, but most important, better people. Get involved. Visit firstteephiladelphia.org. By the Philadelphia Association of Golf Course Superintendents, a community of professionals enhancing the game of golf since 1925. Make sure you thank your golf course superintendent today. By the Golf Association of Philadelphia, GAP, celebrating amateur golf since 1897. By Jersey Man and Philly Man Magazine, a digital publication and private business network. Read the current issue free at jerseymanmagazine.com. By the Haverford Trust Company. For life's must-haves, there's Haverford. And by Inside Golf's partner since 1998, the Philadelphia PGA Section, the experts in the game and business of golf.